Hello everyone, this is Christopher Main, programmer for VerticalThird. In this video, we're going to explore the loot options available in VerticalThird. To follow along, you can open the Level Example Empty map and head to the center, which is noted by the giant pole. In the database folder, you will find hundreds of items already created. These items are used in the VerticalThird example game and can be used as a starting point instead of creating a new data table. Let's create a new folder and name it database_new game. We will add our new item data tables to this folder. As an example, if you wanted to create a new helmet, click on the database folder and search Equipment Head. Drag it to the new game folder and click Copy. With a few quick alterations, we can create a new headpiece in no time flat. Before we dive into each option available, let's set up for iterating with a world loot spawner. To make drag and drop more convenient, let's open a new content browser from the window menu. If needed, you can drag the window to snap into the bottom of the section on the screen. Click on the VerticalThird folder and search for World Loot Spawner and drag it into the scene. I'm repositioning it a little bit, raising it above ground level and hitting the End key to snap it to the ground. From here, I'm going to clear our search text and go back to our new game folder. You can drag the data table to the World Loot Spawner details panel. Enable it by clicking the checkbox. For the purpose of iterating, I'm going to override lifetime, set it to a value of -1 for limited, and a respawn delay of 1. Let's make a few adjustments to Play in Editor. Click on the 3 dots by the Play button and make sure it is set to the new editor window, and select Advanced Settings. We want to make sure Always on Top is enabled. You can close this window after. Double-click on the Equipment Head data table located in our new game folder. Let's click Play. Here I make a few changes to my window sizes for a better workflow. Middle mouse click or using the Windows key will unlock the mouse. You can match my layout or use what works best for you. This is where we get into why VerticalThird is an iteration engine. You can freely change the data table and see the results in game during real time. Let's break down each loot option available in VerticalThird. Here are a few quick notes about data tables in VerticalThird. Each data table can only be 1 row in length, and the row must be named New Row. If you hover the mouse over options in the data table, there will be tooltips that provide additional information. To simplify the view, let's right-click on New Row and click Collapse All. Click New Row once more and you can see VerticalThird has very organized categories for each section of options. The first category is Core. Let's click to expand this option. The Loot ID is the unique identifier for this piece of loot. Every item in your database should have a different Loot ID. In the description of this video is a link to a Google Sheet file with VerticalThird's current list of items. You can make your own copy of this list and add additional items for your new game. The loot type sets what happens when interacting with this piece of loot. If it is an inventory item, a walkover pickup, such as a health item or power up, or an interact object, which is typically used for quests. The inventory category is which inventory the loot will go to. In VerticalThird, there are 3 separate inventories: loot, crafting, and questing. The bind setting determines if this item can be dropped after pickup, or if it is a piece of equipment after being equipped. None will mean it can always be dropped. Bound is for system use and can be ignored. The duration is how long this loot will stay in the world before being destroyed, unless a world loot spawner overrides the lifetime. In the stack category, you can set if this item can stack and the max stack size. With the information category, we have the item's name, description, interact message, and if this is channeled. Channel only changes the direction of the cast bar when interacting. Let's make a few changes to loot information to see the results. We can change the name, the description, and the interact message. If we loot the item by hitting F, the respawn will update with the new changes. Hit the I key on the keyboard to open up the profile window. You'll be able to see both versions of loot side by side. Now on to the appearance category. In VerticalThird, you can have your loot display in the world as a 3D static mesh or as a 2D icon. I'm going to swap this to 2D so you can see the changes. This requires modifying the border and background to transparent. By opening the tint window, set the alpha to 0. A quick loot and we can see the difference. You can tint your textures a color or add a border and background for different looks. Let's revert back to 3D. You can disable the hover and rotate effect and change the rarity. The rarity only changes the text and particle effect colors. I'm selecting the crown for the static mesh, setting the scale to a 3 in each box and removing the rotation. After I took a look at the results, I made a few changes to make it more appealing. The next category is the tooltip. This will make changes to the information window when you hover over the item in the inventory. You can try some of the predefined layouts or change the size when needed. Note that VerticalThird will automatically make some size adjustments based on the amount of statistics listed in the item. The item class is a label that changes the text displayed in the top left of the tooltip. In the animation category, you set what animation montage is used when interacting with this item. You can set the montage sequence name and change the duration required to pick up the item. As an example, I searched for sit full to change the pickup animation and set it to 3 seconds. I'll swap this back after by searching for interact_2_5. The pickup category relates back to the loot type. If this is set to walk over pickup, these options will apply. You can change the pickup radius and force players to interact with this item. This would mean instead of walking over a health potion to heal, you would have to interact with the health potion to heal. In the quest category, the Explore and Escort End checkboxes are used in the quest system. These options will have more details in the quest video located in the description. By checking Quest Required, this loot will only be visible when a player has a specific quest. In the Consumable category, you can enable an item to be right-clicked in the inventory to spawn an action. You can set which target is required for the action: none, self, enemy, or ally. By right-clicking the item, it will destroy it, so this option is best for consumables and not for equipment or weapons. Note that you will set the action to spawn in the action category down below. Now for the equipment category. Enabling equipment will allow this item to be equipped in the set slot. Two-handed applies to weapons and will disable the offhand slot when equipped and unequip anything currently in that slot. Inventory ammo required and ammo item ID also apply to weapons and will search the player's inventory for the listed item ID. If the item is not found, the player will receive an error of out of ammo. You can set the required level to wear this piece of equipment. Floats are how you add statistics to your equipment. The values correlate to the same position in the section above. On this headpiece, there is a 0.01 or 1% increase to resist physical, 300 to maximum health, and 2 to strength. Bool gives options for state-based statistics, like immune damage. An action kit in VerticalThird is a predetermined list of abilities. As an example, I'm going to search for Kit Example Projectile. When I equip the helmet, my entire action bar is reloaded. When I unequip the helmet, the actions return to default. As an alternative, you can change single action slots in the section below, Actions to Change. Set the slot you would like to change and choose an action. As a side note, action creation is in a different video linked in the description. For this example, I chose slot 1, which is for left click, and slot 2, which is for right click. The actions I chose, you can search for Action, Healer, Projectile, and Action, Mage, Direct Target, Damage over time. Now when I equip the item, only my left and right click actions change. You can even add passive actions in the next section. In this example, I search for Action, Passive, Block, My Action. This gives a chance for extra damage when an enemy blocks my action. Passive actions are shown between the bottom action bar and the player's health and resource bar. KitBash is the final section for equipment. This is where you set how the item will look on your character when equipped. Note that you can set different appearances for female, male, and non-binary genders. The left wrist item checkbox is for offhand items, typically reserved for shields. There are more details on the VerticalThird KitBash system in a video in the description. For now, I'm going to add the crown to each gender section. The action to spawn section relates back to walkover pickup items. For health pickup, this is where you would set your healing action. This is also used for consumables and setting what action is spawned when you right click the item. The last category is for system use only. Occupied should be always checked and the value can be left blank. Let's review the types of loot. You can create equipment that change your statistics, alter your character's appearance, and change their abilities. You can create consumables that spawn an action when right-clicked. You can create walkover pickups that spawn an action. There are separate inventories for loot, crafting, and questing. This concludes our exploration on VerticalThird's loot system. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us through one of our social media channels or on Discord.